rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I hope you're all well. So this is going to be a session on how to use this fantastic dictionary, the Hans Wehr Dictionary. So firstly, this is an Arabic to English dictionary. It's very popular amongst many English students or many students around the world who are learning Arabic, who are reading classical texts. It's a very comprehensive dictionary. If you compare it to, there's many English Arabic dictionaries out there. One of the benefits here is that it's quite comprehensive. You've got a lot of words in there. It's quite thick hardcover. And then you have also the classical words as well, whereas some of the other dictionaries will be using sort of modern standard Arabic. Here you've got some classical words and classical meanings behind those words as well. And then finally, it's known to be a dictionary that's quite easy to navigate in comparison to some of the others. And the more you use it, the easier the navigation becomes, and then the more you appreciate actually, for my particular root letters or my word, I'm getting what I need to get, and I think that's why it's probably quite popular. So what you see here on screen is a picture of the hard cover, a picture of a copy of the hard copy. So it's a red cover and it'll say on there 4th edition. So you want to get the 4th edition because it's gone through some iterations, some improvements in accuracy, some editing, things like that. Because I think there's also a blue color. I think there's a 3rd edition that's sometimes on sale or going about. But you want to really get the 4th edition, and it's a 4th edition that's people refer to and is used elsewhere as well. If you haven't got a hard copy, I recommend getting a hard copy because it just means you've got a dictionary to hand. There is a barakah in using not everything has to be done digitally. It means also when you are sort of writing or you're studying or doing your homework, it means you've got something to hand. You don't have to rely on your phone or rely on a computer. And it also just means that if you ever have to, if you're ever in in an Islamic library or you're somewhere and you need to use a hard copy, and it just means you've got the practice of just going, knowing where things are in the dictionary. So you get used to the Arabic alphabet. Where's the middle, where's the end, where's the beginning, how do I flick through the pages quite quickly, and that just really happens with practice. But if you haven't got a copy or you don't want to get a copy, then there is also a PDF version. So this PDF version in particular is a searchable version, which means selectable and searchable. It means that somebody has gone ahead and so taken photocopies or screenshots of the actual dictionary, and then they've been able to convert it into actual words, and it's not just like a photocopy in a PDF format, which means you can copy and paste it. It means you can hit the search button there and you can look up a word. So it's definitely useful like that. And then you've got it digitally as well. And if you're sometimes like me and your dictionary's on your bookshelf and you think can't be bothered getting up, it means you can quickly access Hans Wehr using this PDF. Then we have this app. Now this app is one I've not really used, but basically it's the same thing. It's just using perhaps this version here, or it's just an interface for the dictionary itself. And to be fair, I think once you get to a stage where you've used the dictionary a few times, you could probably switch to here. So if I type the word kataba, if I put that in there, it's going to basically bring me up this word. So kataba, which means to write, and then I get all the, if you've done your sarf, you've got your different forms here. So it'll give me for that particular word all the it'll give me all the definitions for all the different words there, and then we've got nouns as well. And one thing I have noticed about this is so if I want to find the word fataha, so if I did fataha, I'm going to get nothing. The reason for that is because we've got that in Arabic, we've got the ha and we've got the ha. So in this case, you've got to do fatah with a capital H, and that's in reference to the ha. And if I search that now, again, nothing has come up. Oh, sorry, it's going to be fatah ha. So you've got to do the letters like that. That search thing is a little bit annoying as well. So you can see Fataha comes up. So here's an Arabic to English keyboard that you can use. But what you can see here, for example, is to reference the ha. Most of these apps and dictionaries where you've got this you've got 2 letters, which the makharij is quite they sound quite similar. So you got the ha is there. You got the ta and the to. So you got capital T there, and you got the lower T there. And a few other letters as well. So that's something to watch out for. So if you're looking for a word and it's coming back saying, I can't find that word, that's one of the reasons. The other thing which, as you sort of saw I did here was, when you're doing a search here, right, you can see here, you have to basically type in like Fataha, or you got to type in the Arabic. Here, it's just the first letter. So I can't do Fataha. I've got to do just fa, ta, and ha. So fa, ta, ha. Yeah, and I hit search, and then that'll bring it up. Otherwise, it's not going to work. Finally, we've got this version here, which is html.net. And html.net is useful. Again, this is exactly the same. This is, a copy of, this is actually a photocopy of Hans Wehr itself, whereas this is the searchable format, but it's exactly the same. You've got a search bar here, and that'll, you got a search bar here, and again, you search in the same way. So if I do a search here, and let's do kataba, it should bring me to kataba, which means to write. Now, the benefit of this one now is, especially when you're, so firstly, you're looking for an Arabic word, maybe you can't find it in Hans Wehr, or maybe it doesn't really have the, you feel like, this is not the definition I'm looking for, or it's not compact. It doesn't help me understand the context of what I'm reading here. It doesn't make sense in this context. Or you might be researching, or you're just really keen to know what does, I want to see from a range of people, a range of authors or linguists, what they have to say about this particular word. So when I typed in kataba, this website contains 28 dictionaries. So I can see here another, very good dictionary, which is Steingass, which is a bit more compact than Hans Wehr itself. So you can see here, kataba is going to be kutub, kitab. Kataba here, katabia, which means to write over here again. So you get a very similar sort of feel. And then we've got Lane's Lexicon. Lane's Lexicon is also supposed to be quite good. You've got Lane's Lexicon, and then you got Lane's supplement as well. And that's because before the author died, I think she got to Kaf, basically. So she got to Kaf, and then based on her notes, they did the supplement. And because it's only based on her notes and it's not as comprehensive, Ayers said that the supplement is not as good as the actual the sort of first volume here, which goes all the way to Kaf. But Kaf is towards the end of the alphabet, at least like 4/5 of the way. So a lot of words are in there. But in terms of when I mentioned easy to navigate, so you can see here, if you had like Lane's Lexicon, it's you've got like 3 columns here. There's a lot going on. Maybe even the way the text is, the format, some of it's in italics is when you're looking at Hans Wehr, it's just easier to read. Kataba, you can see your sort of basic definitions here, and you move on and you move on and you move on, whereas the others don't. And then if we keep going down, you can see here there's another one, Hava, and then other ones too. And it looks like they're in different languages. A total of 28 dictionaries. You've also got Lisan al-Arab, which is a popular dictionary in the Arabic language. So once you reach that stage, and once you're sort of quite good, then you're going to really want to turn to the Qamus in the Arabic language, because you really want to get down to using Arabic words to define Arabic words and sort of really be precise, or have a broader meaning to understanding what a word truly means. So for this tutorial, let's use the searchable version. Now, the dictionary itself, it's ordered alphabetically, as you would expect. However, when it comes to searching for a word, then you cannot search by word. You've got to search by root letters. So for example, the word masjid. Masjid is a mosque. So if you didn't know that and you thought, I don't know what masjid means, and you're going to look up the word masjid, then in this particular dictionary, you're not going to find it. So if I do masjid, so here, for example, so let's just go up a little bit. So you can see here, right, I'm under the letter sin here. So all words beginning with sin, and then again, it goes alphabetically. So sabala, sitta, satata there, and then we come on to up here, sajada. So what you have to do in Arabic is, when it comes to each word, you've got to work out what the root letters are, or you've got to just, and the way you work out the root letters is either going to be with experience. So as the more and more you use the dictionary, you get used to the language, then the better you get with identify what the root letters are. Or sometimes it's trial and error when you don't quite know what the root letters, maybe you've heard the word and you didn't quite get, did he use the makharij wasn't as clear, did he use a ha or a ha? Then there's a bit of trial and error. Or sometimes you might have a word which has got 5 or 6 letters, and you think it could be these 3, it could be these 3, and then there is sometimes a bit of trial and error. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just means that you're learning more words actually, and you're getting used to you're sort of feeling faster. Okay. But with experience, really it works. And this is where sarf comes in, because if you have studied sarf and you know about all the different scales or forms that the verbs can fall upon. So like for example, you got the fa'il, you got the maf'ul, you got the ism ala, you got ism mubaliga. So you've got the different. So for example, you might see the word masjid. You might know now. Okay, for the word masjid, the root letters are sajada, because the meme here, generally meme is used in a number of cases as it's a zaida, it's an additional letter for particular types of nouns. So you will pick up that. So I think for this word masjid, the root letters are sajada, and you might not think masaja, and you won't think that. And even if you did think that, then you would still look up that word. So masaja, you will look that up in the dictionary, and you'll probably come to the conclusion, you'll find that either it doesn't make sense in the context, or it doesn't exist as a word, or masjid itself, you cannot find it as an entry. So here, for example, we've got sajada. A masjid is a noun. So if we sort of work down a little bit, then what you find here is the word does actually appear. So masjid means mosque, and you've got the plural as well, which is masajid. So that word does exist here, but it's not the go-to. When you're first opening it up and you think, what does masjid mean? I can't go to masjid. I need to know what the root letters are, sajada. Go there, and then once you open up that entry, then you can look it up. So if we actually do sajada in this app, let's see what that looks like. Sajada, see if that works even. So sajada. So you can see here, the benefit here is we've just got one form in the Arabic, form 1 here, which is the salasi mujarrad, and then you've got all the nouns and you've got the different ones. So you've got sajda, sujud, sajjad, masjid, sajid, so which is the ism fa'il, the one who prostrates, or the prostrator. There's an exception, and this exception is essentially when it comes to Arabized words. So a word like, for example, so an Arabized word is basically, it's a word that's not Arabic, but the Arabs have took it on and they've Arabized it in that they've sort of incorporated it into their own language structure. So diplomacy. This word, for example, right, diplomacy, you're going to find over here. So we don't have the P or the pa sound in Arabic. So whenever there's a pa sound, they'll change it to the ba, and then you can see here they basically incorporate that into their own language. So it's diplomacia. So that's how they would come across that. So there's other words that you come across which have been Arabized, and you think diplomacia, and you might either you're going to think that sounds like diplomacy, or you're not going to know what it is. For that particular word, you're not working out what the root letters are. There are no root letters. It's just been, that word we just taken from you, whereas the language itself is, based upon root letters. Okay, so you can see here, for example, when you're looking up diplomacy now, then you will look under the dal and ba, and that word is basically as an entry. There's no root letters for it. Okay, another thing I want to mention is the Arabic alphabet. So if you were anything like me, then you will, this is what I used to learn the Arabic alphabet. And namely, I just want to point out, you've got lam, mim, noon, waw, ha. So noon, waw, ha. So this is what I was taught. So when I first opened up the Hans Wehr Dictionary, and I got to, I got towards the end of the dictionary, I'm looking for ha. I've gone to wow, and I thought after wow is going to be the beginning of ha, but I couldn't find it, and I thought, what's going on here? Is this a misprint? Because I was definitely taught the Arabic alphabet, and it's only later then I realized actually in Arabic the ha precedes the wow, and that's what you're going to find in Hans Wehr as well. So it's noon, ha, wow, and ya. So that's just one to call out because some of you might experience the same thing there. Okay, so now let's work through an example. Let's say we come across the word miftahun, and you're wondering now, what does the word miftahun mean? So like we said, the first step is now to find the root letters. Now these you're going to find through experience, or you're going to find by trial and error. So miftahun, the root letters here, so you've got the meme here. It's used for a number of reasons. It's upon a number of scales, and then you got the alif as well, which is generally a zaida, which is generally like an extra letter. It's not usually an asl. It can be as well, but in this case, then you might make the maybe you're going to chance it, or you're going to guess and say, well, I think for this word, fataha is the root letters are fataha, and if you've done your sarf and you've learned about like ism ala, you might also realize or pick up the fact that this is a scale in Arabic. And many words are upon this scale, and because you know the scale, then you can work out what the actual it's on the scale mif'alun. So you can work out the fa kalima, the ain kalima, and the lam kalima. And that's one of the reasons why it's important to know sarf. It's important to know all the different types of verbs we have and the different types of nouns as well. So fataha. So let's go onto our dictionary then. And if I type in fataha, now the problem with this searchable one is it's got the the transliteration. So for example, what can we see here? So you can see here, for example, it's got like a bit of a symbol there, which is basically in reference to the sheen, right? So the ha usually has a dot underneath, and the reason when I've typed this in, it doesn't appear. So it does make it a bit difficult. You have to end up doing like fatha maybe, and then you've got to like scroll down a little bit. So let's do that again. But you can see here, I get 100 results. So it's one of the limitations. So what you have to do instead is then just search the Arabic. So fa, da, and ha. So if I do that, search there, and then you can see here, fataha appears over here. So now my word miftahun, I found the root letters. I've located it in the dictionary. Let's zoom in a little bit. So what I first will see is the fi'l madi. And the fi'l madi, which is a past tense verb, or the perfect tense verb, you will see it's given also with the transliteration, fataha. Now the benefit of this is that because there's no haraka upon the fi'l madi, and we know that the fi'l madi in the salasi mujarrad will always have the fatha in the fa kalima and the lam kalima. So we know it's fa and we know it's ha, but we don't necessarily know what's on the ain kalima. So it could be fataha, fatiha, or fatuha. What the transliteration tells us is that that's got fatha. So each of these letters has got a fatha, yeah? So fataha. And also just tells you how to pronounce it. And this is the ha I was talking about with the dot underneath. And so this is the fi'l madi, as we said. What we have after that is then a letter. So now this letter is either going to be an A, an I, or a U. If you've gone from fi'l madi now to fi'l mudari, you will know that the only thing you're going to miss is, so one of the things you have to know is in the salasi mujarrad, you've got the 6 abwab, the 6 babs, right? Which is which is basically saying when you convert from fi'l madi to fi'l mudari, then for the ain kalima on the fi'l mudari, you need to know whether I need to put a fatha, a damma, or a kasra. What this tells you is it's a fatha. It's got the a. If it was a kasra, it'll be an I. If it was a damma, it'll be a u. So that means now we can look at this, and if I'm wondering, I don't know what the fi'l mudari is, I can see here then it's fataha yaftahu. So I know this is my word now. Fataha yaftahu, right? And that just means then it's on the a bab or on the fatatan bab. So I know both fi'l madi and fi'l mudari have the fatha. Okay. So now that's the mudari done. So we've got the madi, we've got the mudari. Next, what we have in the brackets is the masdar. Masdar is now the infinitive. It's like the verb but without any tense. So when you're using this word generally. So if I said he opened a book, that's past tense. He's opening a book, that is present tense. And then if I said opening a book is beneficial. Now opening in this context, there's no tense, nobody's doing it, it's not an action. I'm just talking about it as a concept. That's what we call the masdar, right? And this is the masdar now that's presented here in the brackets. Some words will have multiple masdars. Generally, they'll go in order of usage or in popularity, or so in this case we've got here, which is fathan. So we've got the masdar, we've got the madi, mudari, and the masdar. Now we come on to the meaning. So this first section here, fataha, is, and this is something to remember, it's for the salasi mujarrad, which is for the first verbal form. So fi'l madi, salasi mujarrad. Within this form now, the base meaning of this word, right, or even generally for this, for these root letters, you can say the base meaning is to open, and you could stop there sometimes and think, okay, here's my word, here's that, and it means to open. Miftahun, I know it's on this particular scale, and I know what that scale is used for, and now I don't need to look any further because I know what the scale is used for. I know it's up on that scale, so I'll translate the word myself. But, you might want to be sure and you look ahead. So let's just continue. Now, what you see here is it doesn't stop there, the dictionary. We've got something in brackets, and then after this semicolon here, you've got other meanings as well. So let's go into this bracket bit first. So what we have in the bracket, so here, the s.th dot is basically an abbreviation for something. The ha here refers to something inanimate, something that's irrational, something that's not alive, basically, or non-human. Just, think of it as non-human. So if I said here, what do we have to open? So what this is telling us, right, use this definition when the context or the object that you are that is used with is something. It's a thing, right? It's an object and it's inanimate. So for example, a door, for example. So if it said Fataha al-Baba, he opened the door. This is how I'm going to translate it. I'm not going to use another word. So it's telling us, because a door is inanimate and it is something, it's an object, right? And if I put it in the past tense, then that becomes opened. So this is how I translate now. He opened the door. So now I know what he's doing. And likewise, if you don't know what bab means, then you go find that particular word. Then we have a secondary definition here. And again, you have to look at what's in the bracket, because what we're saying is, right, within this context or within this object, right, use this definition instead. So a faucet is a tap. We say, it's an American word. We say tap, right? What it's saying is, if the thing you're talking about, or is, this fataha is used with, is a tap or a faucet, then you would say to turn on. You wouldn't say he opened a tap or he's opening a tap. You would say he turned on a tap. He turned on the tap. That's what you would say. And to be fair, looking at this, I think most of us probably do say actually open a tap. And maybe, grammatically or maybe linguistically it's incorrect. And, if you want to be accurate, you should be saying turn on the tap, because you actually literally turn the tap, but you've got different types of taps now, and we just say open the tap. But it's just an example of how you can get very formal and specific with language and be accurate. Or, the other reality is that the way we speak, we don't speak in dictionary terms, we just speak how we speak. And that's probably something to watch out for as well. Just because the dictionary might be using a particular definition, it doesn't mean that the author or the speaker is using that exact definition as well. So there might be some colloquialism, there might be some dialectics going on, or various other tools of speaking. Okay, so then we got other ones, and here's another good one. So if the thing that the person is doing fataha to is a canal, for example, you wouldn't say that man there, he's opening up a canal. You would say he's digging a canal. So when fataha is used with a canal, then the translation we're picking is to dig. So you can see here that as you're going through this and looking at what's the object in the sentence, or what's that fataha, whether it's a verb or it's a noun, what's it pointing towards, then you can use the relevant or the correct definition here. Then we have, so you keep going and you can see here you've got various different ones to pronounce with a vowel consonant. So then we have here this sort of vertical line here. What this basically shows us is any words that follow this, then it gives us the usage of this word in an idiomatic expression or a figure of speech. So in this case here, where you've got fatah al-bakta, then it means to tell fortunes. You wouldn't, it's basically telling you that, in Arabic, there's a figure of speech, or there's an expression, an idiom, something like that, where, the people will say fatah al-bakta. And what this means is to tell fortunes. Because now you might be looking at that and literally translating it and thinking, don't quite understand. And when you actually look here, then it'll tell you that, this is a figure of speech, and this is how we understand it. To open one's eyes wide, stare wide-eyed as well. So you've got a few things there. Now we come on to the Roman numerals. Now, when you study sarf, you're going to learn about the verbal forms, or the abwabs, and there's different ones, and generally you learn about 10 common ones, but there's maybe even up to 15 or more than that. And the reason why you don't learn them ones is because they're quite rare. So this form 2, right, which is bab taf'il, basically if you've got a verb now which is in form 2, then you're not going to look at salasi mujarrad. You're going to look at, the reason why we've got the different forms, because each form provides a different sort of gives you a different meaning or different nuance to the meaning. So this one here, for example, which is fa'ala, right, which will be fattaha, and the difference between this and salasi mujarrad is that on the ayn kalima you've got some doubling, so it's fa tataha fattaha, right? And we know that when you learn about form 2, then usually it's used as an intensive form, or it is used as a causative, to make somebody do something. So in this case, it, when it's used, so here you can see the definition is exactly the same. It says to open, but you should know that form 2 gives indication to an intensity towards something, or it's used as causative. So for example, if I said kharaja means to leave or to go out. Kharraja, with the in form 2 with a doubling on the raw, it means to make someone go out. if you see what I mean. So you're causing somebody to do that now, right? Or it could mean khadraja means, to leave with some intensity in that. So, like you can say like, there's that emphasis on that the person left, it means to leave, like he, stamped his feet out, gives you some intensity. It's used like that. So in this case here, we've got to open, but you've got some, when you're reading to open, the difference between that one and the other one is that, yes, they both mean to open, but this one's got an intensity behind it. And then again, it follows with, we've got verb 3, we've got form 3 here, 5, 7, 8, and 10. And we know that not every verb will be compatible with every form, every scale, and that's okay. So this will tell you that this word here, fataha, will only come under these forms here, and for each of these forms, then it gives you the meaning. So I hope that makes sense of the verbs. But it continues. What we then see here is we actually go back to the masdar. And actually, before I go on to that, so up here we've got up here we had fataha, yaftahu. So it's not going to give you the mudari because it's already given you the mudari here, and the masdar it gives you here. But we all know that the name of the form or the name of the bab, right, is the masdar. So form 2, which is bab taf'il, we know that the masdar for this word under this bab is it's not not the fa'ala, is bab taf'il. So we know it's going to be so the masdar for this word is going to be tafattaha, taf'il. So we know that the masdar here is going to be taftih, and then so on and so forth, and likewise with each one of these. So you know what the masdar is as well. And then we go on to the next bit here, which is basically going to give you, so this is the masdar for the form 1 now, so which means opening or introduction, commencement. So this is what fathun or fathan means over here. And then you got the plural, which is futuh, using the pluralized form. And then you have basically a list of nouns here. So you got fattahun, the opener of gates, which is one of the names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And then what do we have here? Miftahun. So this is the word we were looking for, basically. So we can see here now there's an entry for the word that we were looking for, but we couldn't go directly to that. We couldn't go, it's not under meme, it's under fattaha. And we found it here now. And basically it tells us it means it's a key. So we know this is ism ala. And I was saying earlier, if you know the root letters and you know that meaning it means to open, and then you know what it's on the scale of ism ala. So miftah is a tool used for something. So I know to open. So it's a tool used to open something. And what's that? That's a key. A key is used to open something. A key, like a door. And then you got other sort of variations as well, how it might be used, like a lever or a pedal. So all sort of going back to something that's used to open something. And then we've got a few other examples as well, other different nouns. Now, in my experience, it doesn't always give you every single noun. So for example, you've got the ism fa'il and the ism maf'ul, some of the common ones, ism tafdil, and some of the nouns out there. It doesn't always give you them. In this case, let's see if it's got fatihun, so which is the opener, the one who opens, and then let's see if it's got maftuhun, maftuh, the thing that's been opened, right, which is a maf'ul. So it doesn't always give you that. So this is why sarf is important, because to be fair, as long as you know fataha, yaftahu, as long as you know this is the root letter, then you just put it on that scale. And if you wanna, then you can say, okay, fataha, now I want to talk about the one who opens. Okay, fatihun. I want to tell somebody to open. I want to command them. Iftahun. Iftah, you would say. So this is one of the reasons why it's important to know sarf, because on the one hand, from that root letter, you can make the words, and secondly, you don't have to read everything. You just have to know what's that base mean. Let me get an indication of what does this word mean. When it comes to classical works, when it comes to Quran, then you're going to spend a bit more time really understand what's the word I'm looking for. And then finally, there's a number. Okay, so one of the problems with this PDF is it doesn't have like for some of the words for homonyms you get like a word on top. So let me just look this up in the other dictionary. Let's search this one. So you got this one here. If you see a one here, then it's basically telling you that this word is used as a homonym. Now in this case, when I looked it up, it's not really it's not a pure homonym, but it is in this case, because fataha is also used for that's the number 2 there, a without article acronym for Palestine National Liberation Movement. Harakat Tahrir Palestine. So basically for this particular movement, this organization, this is an abbreviation. So it refers to them. So if you see it on a billboard, you see it on the headlines, you see it in a newspaper, basically what we're saying is, and you look at what does this word mean, and you're going to look up and it means to open. It doesn't make any sense, but it's telling you actually it might be used in a different, it's a homonym. So it actually might be in reference to this Palestine National Liberation Movement. So that's basically something else to watch out for. So this one also, Fatara, has got it's a homonym as well. So you got Fatara there, and then you got Fatura over here, which is to look up alphabetically, and it's got two different meanings. So you might be looking at Fatura, and it's telling you that this is same roots but used differently here, and that's essentially it. But there's more, because we know that we've got Mithal, Ajwaf, Nakis, and other types, the 7 types or the verbs when it comes to the whether it's sound or weak or the Hamza and the doubling. Let's say the word, what's a common one? QaaLaa. Okay, so let's open this up. Just before that, let's go on to here. Let's see what happens if we type in Fataha here. I'm just interested. Does it give you the homonym? Fatiha, Fatih, Fatah, Maftuhun. No, it doesn't. So this one doesn't basically. This one won't give you the homonym. It doesn't have it contained here. So that's another thing to watch out for. If you're using this, you're using the PDF, it's not going to give you the homonyms. You've got to get the hard copy, or you got to look on here, and that's where you get your homonyms again. And should we have another quick look at? Let's see what you got. Lane's Lexicon. It's one that I seldom use, but you got here Fataha. So you can see here whole load of letterings or symbols or abbreviations here, and then it comes on to he opened. So again, you're going to get quite similar in terms of the meaning, but you can see it's sometimes a little bit difficult to follow a lot of abbreviations, that Lane that contained in Lane's lexicon. Okay, so then QaaLaa. So again, it's difficult. If I type in that, then just open up my keyboard. So the word is QaaLaa. So I'm going to find the Qaf, Alif, and Lam. So you can see it's difficult to find because I'm at the beginning of the dictionary. Why is it not appearing? And it goes on to other words. The reason for that is you need to bring in the actual root letter. So we know this is an ajwaf. So it's QaaLaa. So if I now do that again, ka, wow. So wrong wow, and lam, and press enter there. So now it's going to give me the actual word. So if I just pull that down to the actual word, so we can see here then, QaaLaa. And the reason for that is because what Hans Wehr does is, it's in order of root letters. So basically for your Mithal, Ajwaf, Nakis words, you need to uncover whether it's a waw or a ya. Again, it's experience. You could have searched the qa, yala, and you would have maybe worked out either it doesn't exist or it doesn't make sense. Then you look for QaaLaa again, or when the weak letter reappears in the fi'l mudari. So qala yakulu, so this is a waw and it's not a ya for this one. But if you don't know that, then there's a bit of trial and error. So you can see here we've got QaaLaa, but you also do get the usage as well because it's the weak letter drops in the fi'l madi. It becomes you have the alif instead. So we have QaaLaa, which so it gives you that as well. And again, we've got the one over here, so we'll maybe look at that, and you can see what it means is to speak. We've got the u here, which is reference to the waw. Qala yaqulu qawlun, which is the masdar. Qawlun, which means then. So qala means to speak. He spoke. He is speaking, and then just talking about speaking. So you got all the definitions here, and then the different verbal forms and how it's used in different expressions. Then you got an example here of qala wakil and keel wakal. Again, this might be something that you find in the Hadith Sharif in some of the books. Qala, and then you got the actual meaning of the masdar here, which means speech or a saying or an utterance, a statement. Another word that's used, you'll find in the Hadith Sharif in many books. So you know that when we talk about the qawl of a Sahabi, the statement, the speech of a Sahabi, and you get all the other definitions for this particular word. And here I said earlier that it doesn't have, so maybe for some words it's been omitted, or when they did the editing they left it out, or just typographical errors. So you can see here qawl also, you got Turk, which is qawl, wing of an army corps, military rank, intermediate between those of captain and major. So within, so basically it just looks like it's the name of a goal is an officer in the army. Right, okay. Four-letter words will appear as they are. So if I searched here, Bahraja, over here, you can see, so this is a four-letter root word. So Bahraja will appear as, it's not a three-letter, it's four asset letters. So you're going to find it as it appears. So Bahraja will come up. You're not looking for, three letters within the four. Then we also have doubling as well. So for example, the word Fadra, it's not going to come under Fa, Ra, Ra. Rather, even though it is, Fa, Ra, Ra, Fadra, it will come under Fa and Ra. So Fadra, let's pop that in. So here, for example, you can see Fadra shows just like that. Then you got the definition and whatnot. And now there might be, as I mentioned earlier, you need to know Sarf. There might be particular words that you don't quite, you need to be able to deconstruct or morph your words. You need to be able to work out, this is my current word, I understand this is an ism mubaliga. How do I get from there to the Madi? How do I know what the masdar is? How do I know what the root letters are? And some of that comes with experience, usually just comes with experience. The more you do it, the better you get at it. Now then, I think that's probably all you need to know when it comes to Hans Wehr and using it for your homework, your classes, translating Arabic. We have gone through quite a bit. Again, use the hard copy, use this searchable PDF, use this app here, use the keyboard here as well. There's also the one I prefer, which is the Arabic hyphen keyboard, which is just easy to use and is good for formatting as well. Or you just got the keyboard, my own keyboard that I use. Lane's like you got this one as well. If you're doing that comparative study, and I'll add a link to each one of these in the description, so you got them to hand. Then I will also say, finally, no, before we go on to that, let me just bring this other tab in, which is basically, I'll add a link to this article. But if you want to give it a go, have some practice, then the first exercise is to determine the root letters, find the base meaning, and then the definition of each of the following words. For example, for kitab, so work out what the root letter is, find what's the base meaning for that, and then look up, within the list, whether it's a verb or a noun, look up what's the actual meaning, and that'll just help you out with, there's a few examples of, where it might be tafsir, for example, you might be thinking, well, how am I going to work out what the root letters are there? I've got 5 letters there. So it gives you a bit of an example there. Then the second exercise is think of names in your family, use a dictionary to work out what their name means. So, if you've got an uncle called Sajid, you've got an uncle called Majid, you've got an uncle called Wajid, whatever names there are, especially, they have to be Arabic names. Again, find what that is. And many of the names, many names do originate or have roots within Arabic as well. And then we have another exercise, which is find the meaning of the following Quranic words. So this is basically, I put these ones together, just going through the last chapters of the Quran and just looking at some of the words that you might not know, and see if you can find the meaning. So you got A'udhu Billah, you got A'udhu Bi first. You got Ghasiqin. What does that mean? Ghasaka. So look that up, see what it is, and then which I haven't done yet is to find the root, to give you some harder words. And then here there's an example of the list of the verb forms. So you got fa'ala, yaf'ilu, or yaf'alu, or yaf'ulu. There's many masdars within that first one. If'al, fa'ilun, and maf'ulun. So you got the madi, mudari, masdar, amr, ism fa'il, and ism maf'ul. That's obviously something most of you should have memorized or should be memorizing, because the better you get at this, then easier it becomes to use a dictionary, and vice versa as well. If you're not that good at the dictionary and you just know the meaning, then you don't need to know that much, because you can just put it upon one of these scales. And like I mentioned, for the masdar for these, so fa'al, so this is bab taf'il, form 2 bab taf'il. And the reason why I added this is because if, like me, I didn't learn in Arabic forms, I just learned from the name of the bab. So I know it as bab taf'il, and then later on I've come to know bab taf'il is the second one, because when I learned it, it was like the 4th one down or something in the list. We learn some of the other ones first. Like for example, if'alan was the second bab that I learned, but it's the 4th one on this list. So that's a good reference point. And then finally, there's a link here to the actual meanings of the verbs, the verbal forms as well. So you know this is the general verbal meaning, and when form 2 is used, then as I give the example, either it's going to be a causative, so to make somebody to go out, or it's going to be an intensive version of the form 1, which means, so for example, jama'a means to collect, but jamma'a means to amass, to accumulate. And likewise, Mahmud means the one who's praised, but Muhammad means the one who's abundantly praised. So it's, form 1 and form 2. That's another example where you've got Mahmud is the one who's praised, but Muhammad is the one who's abundantly, there's an intensity there. And when if you don't know that, then you kind of lose that meaning of Muhammad is not just the praised one, it's like the one who is seriously praised. Yeah. And then you got the all 10 over there. So again, that might be useful. And finally, if you are a student, then this is something that I've come across, which I think is very useful. So I've already got something on my, so Fataha, if I type this in, this dictionary is also one I would say, you can start using. I would say use Hans Wehr for I think because it's entered into, because it's like it's a dictionary that every student uses, has used, will use, makes use of, use it and, get some practice in and be somebody who can say, I'm a user of Hans Wehr. It's got its own, barakah, everybody, all the, many scholars and many students of knowledge use it. So for that reason alone, it should become, just like we study many classical works, it should be something that, we think, okay, I've done that, I've got used to the Hans Wehr. But also, Arabic Students Dictionary, if you go on your phone, they do have like a web app version as well, which you can install. It's quite quick, as you sort of saw, whereas this PDF, I think it's about 30 meg or 50 meg or something. It's quite, I have noticed that it doesn't always pick it up, and it's just not sometimes the best. So I've typed in Fataha. It tells us, gives you the verbal or the nouns, the mustard meaning here, which is basically the without any tense over here. So you can see Fathun means, that's what Fathun means. And then you're given the verbal meaning underneath that, which is Fataha, which means to open. And again, looks like it's maybe using Hans Wehr here as well. So to turn and do, gives you that. And then you've got other sort of, in other cases as well. But what you can do is you just go and explore route. Once you go on the explore route, then you get that first entry, and then you just get everything else. So you got Fataha, then you got Fataha, Fataha, and again, it might be just another easy way for you to find the word you're looking for. And what this one actually allows you to do is, the reason why I brought it up was because if I just type in here, it's one of the things with the keyboards, they're always changing. So if I just type in masjid here now, it will give me that word. So you know how I said with Hans Wehr it's all to do with the root. If you're finding it difficult, you don't know what the root is, I just can't find it, then this is probably the next resource you want to go to. Just putting that word as it is. When you've got your book open, your Quduri, whatever classical work you're looking at, pop that word in. Now, obviously, these are classical works, and the language used, there's a lot of technical terminology within there. Some of the language used might be sort of a higher level, so it might not always be in these, general dictionaries here. And then sometimes they will have a specific sort of technical meaning depending on the madhab or depending on the science. So that's also something to watch out for. But at least it will give you, some direction, where to go when you're translating. So this is my second resource. Okay, so I'll add the links to the description. There's also an article version of this. So if you want to revisit it, you can just go through the article version, and then that'll help you. But I hope this was very helpful. If you did like it, subscribe to the channel, like the video as well. Leave us a comment on how you found this. Hope it was quite thorough enough. Probably gone on for quite a bit, 45 minutes. But the benefit is that now you really should know, you should be comfortable in using this dictionary for any given science that you have.